the four-way test is Debbie Sickles, and the song is David Ellis. Would you please rise?
Stand and join me in prayer, please. Father God, we come to you now. We're mindful of your blessings and we're thankful for them. But right now, Father, I pray for our country, for the United States of America.
Yes.
I pray that somehow cooler heads will begin to prevail. I pray, Father, for the Constitution of the United States of America, that it not be aborted. I pray, Father, for politicians on both sides. And I just pray that somehow you're magnified. You become more glorious than ever with all of those who observe our ways. Father, we thank you for the Rotary Club and our motto of service above self. And I pray, Father, that we continually serve and continually try to find other avenues of service for those less fortunate. We thank you for this food that we've eaten, and we just most of all thank you for Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag, say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is it true?
Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it ill goodwill and benefit?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
David,
Yes,
we're singing today.
yes, CJ is going to help me sing the song number 51. You've probably never heard of this one before, but it's called Old Macdonald Had a Farm.
I'm running up.
So, song 51, page 7.
We need, somebody give us a favorite animal.
Pig.
Okay, pig.
Pig.
McDonald had a pig. We do
All
one
right,
verse.
one verse, okay, song 51, here we go. Old Macdonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on this farm he had a pig, E-I-E-I-O, with oink oink here and oink oink there, here oink there oink everywhere, oink oink, old Macdonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
I wanted one more verse. You could have given us a different animal.
I'm not really sure why I didn't say a lion. Test. Oh, there we go. It probably would have cost me an extra $1, wouldn't it? Okay, well, welcome to another day here at the Rotary. And of course, Larry is still in isolation, along with several other members of our club. So let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers. He did say he did go to the doctor. There doesn't appear to really be anything like necessarily neurological, or nothing showed up in signs of maybe that it was the tremors were Parkinson's or something. Could be just a way that maybe the COVID had actually attacked his body, not sure, but I think he is going to still have to go do an MRI. So definitely keep Larry in your prayers, because we need him back to finish his presidency. Okay, and do we have visiting Rotarians? Do we have guests? David?
I have the lovely Sheila with me today.
We don't know why she doesn't just join.
That's right.
We also have Karen Clark.
Oh, and we have, yes, Karen Clark. Let me get you on here.
I'm the cheering section. I don't know if anyone was asked to do the happy birthday, so if you want me to do
Oh,
it.
as soon as we finish with this,
Wait,
yes,
yeah,
you
I would do
can.
that. I didn't know if anyone was asked.
No.
Okay.
No, you're doing great.
Okay, and Karen Clark. Karen, thank you. We do always appreciate you visiting with us. Okay, and now for Happy Bucks.
All right.
CJ.
Okay. Didn't want to usurp anybody's positional authority. Here I come. I'm running. Ooh, here I come.
Is that what you call this?
Watch it.
I'm just happy I had a new granddaughter last Friday, 8 pounds 6 ounces.
Name.
Marley Kate Coble.
Marley Kate. Oh. Who's happy? Remember, I know what your tag numbers are. I still have contacts. Do you wish to speak?
We're just
Just happy.
Just happy. Our COVID went through our household and we're done with it.
Oh, thank goodness, thank goodness. All right. Yes, darling.
Well, I had to borrow a book, but I'm just happy to be here. Happy that most everybody that's staying safe and the people that have not are coming through. So
Yeah.
and happy that Debbie is still happy with me.
Anybody over here happy, cheerful, jolly, upbeat?
Oh.
Oh, I'm just happy to be back. I've missed several meetings,
Yes, you
unfortunately.
have, young lady.
I'm back.
Should have had to give $2 for that.
Oh, I know.
You doing okay over here?
She said, I'm back
Oh, wait.
twice, so that should.
You have your own microphone.
Yes,
so.
I do. And I'm very happy that I am getting this opportunity as a president-elect to conduct these meetings, I was gonna say business meetings, to conduct these Rotary meetings because it kind of gets you started and it gets you unafraid and unnervous and so, but I might have to pay $2 happy bucks, but right now I'll settle with the one. But we've had a lot to overcome, and so I just want to thank my board for stepping up, or our board for stepping up, including myself, and trying to get some things caught up because we missed in a little training and we missed some other things. COVID was a strange year for everybody, but I want you all to know that everybody on the board is now on board. And so after the meeting, though, I hate to say this, but my first out of order, I don't even know what I want to call it, my first out of order project here is that we have to have an emergency board meeting as soon as this is over. We do need to approve some minutes, and right now that's all. Okay? Not financials aren't quite done, but we are in balance, reconciled through November. I want you to know. And member bills will be going out very soon. Unfortunately, Karen had to go on a vacation they had already planned, and when they get back Monday, the billings and everything else will be caught up and done. I did ask you all, if you have paid by a check, especially in October, I really need y'all to tell me your check number and the amount that you paid. Send it to me. I am helping Karen, and because she just listed check numbers and amounts without a name. So we need to go get your account cleared. So if you want your account cleared without us coming to you later, please, just a quick email. I emailed everybody last week. I hope y'all got it because I'm kind of new in the club runner email thing.
No.
Well, where did it go? Okay, well, I guess I'll resend it out. But anyway, so if you do go through your checkbook, just get your last check. It would have been around the September, October dues. And so we can get y'all cleared up, okay?
Maybe I pay mine online. Have y'all not?
Yeah, we do have those, and we are learning. Karen is learning QuickBooks, and the membership is the last thing in Josue. Give it to Josue. Josue is willing to come help us get to the bottom of that, so we make sure we're accurate. So I think the only thing that we're really going to be missing is we had a huge deposit of dues that was paid and deposited all together without names, just check numbers. So if you would just go through, I'm going to say September and October of wherever you paid those dues and get back with me. Okay, that was a happy bucks, and I'm sorry I interrupted your duty.
You're
So
fine. I've
now
been playing with the tickets.
Deck of Destiny, let's go.
Did anybody want to buy tickets that didn't get a chance to? All right, you lost your chance. Reach in. All right, read the number out. Oh, wait.
Okay, 1915
Woo-hoo!
41.
No!
141.
Somehow, and he was the last one, and I sold him the
I
lucky
know
ticket.
it.
And I thank you.
Something not right there. Hold on just a minute, I just have to fix something on the deck. Hold on.
What?
It was the Joker I saw. She just took the Joker out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'll split it with you later.
Is this gonna be beneficial to all or just me?
It will be beneficial to all because you're going to split it with me.
Which one am I splitting?
Drum roll, drum roll.
Yeah.
He
Hey!
won.
There's probably hardly anything in the pot, though.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
that was a
Because it
big
was just,
check, too. There's
it
a
was
lot.
just
I'm I'm sorry.
I'm
Nice.
sorry.
How much are you getting?
That's amazing.
I will. Who handles
So,
that?
throw that deck away, number
Yes.
one, but we need to shred it somehow.
We'll talk to Karen, because Karen's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Karen, of course, isn't here. We have no idea how much is in it, but I know all the funds were just deposited, so you'll get a little more than you would have.
Fun stuff.
And we have a new deck back there too.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
I'll fix it up.
Well, it's
You
more than
left
$200,
everything in
I know
good
that. Starts at 200.
Okay, so those of y'all that are showing up and you're on our Facebook page, just, you might check into the Rotary meeting and let people know that there are some of us that are still coming, having a good time. The next thing is we're gonna be bringing this up for several weeks now, is about our meals. Because in order for, and again, back to the treasurer and the member and the billings and everything, if you do not pay for meals and you eat, you pay the sergeant at arms or who the ticket person is back there $10 and let them put your name down and your meal. If you bring a guest, that guest gets to come and have their first meal as a potential member. If that guest comes back with an application, I mean, I probably would go ahead and let them have that next meal. But if they continue to come, like Sheila, I'm using that as an example. We mark it right here, Sheila Ellis is paid. So as of right now, because we don't really know who does eat and doesn't eat this week only, it's on the honor system. So if you need to pay for your meal, it is $10 when you do eat, if you are not being billed for meals. And the reason for this is you guys were losing on meals. We pay them for 30 meals. So I just want y'all to know how this works. That's the reason that we're having to crack down. And it isn't fair that people pay every week and other people get to eat free, but they're not billed for it. So honor system today, probably by next week, we're gonna know who eats and doesn't eat, and the sergeant at arms will be coming around and asking you to pay $10, or would you like it on your bill? And that's not being harsh, you guys, that is being fair, okay? So, good for all concerned, okay? We don't have any extra presentation, so today we did have someone that couldn't make our program, but we always have wonderful Rotarians that will step up to the plate, will bring us great programs. We just have to ask them. So Katy Ridge, come talk to us about your trip to Cozumel.
Hey! Nice.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like we have a handful of Rotarians today here. And I know there's going to be some that are watching, and of course we'll be sending this information out through email or some other mechanism, because I just went to Cozumel. I left Thursday morning. The reason I left on Thursday morning was to be there for the Cozumel Rotary Club's meeting on Thursday night, which I did attend. They are still doing everything virtually. They are not having live meetings per se. And so in preparation for this trip, which the trip was actually for my nephew's graduation. He graduated from high school in June, sadly, or in May, and so we were supposed to go on this trip in June. That got canceled. We rescheduled it because both he and I have just had COVID, so we rescheduled it to get to use our immunity. We rescheduled it for January, and I wanted to make sure, I told Kim to make sure that I was there on a Thursday so that I could attend one of their meetings. So I've been talking to Alex and Ernesto. Ernesto was president of their club the same time that I was president here. So I have a good relationship with him, and Alex, as always, he's Mr. Cozumel. So I actually had spoken with Alex about booking some excursions and stuff like that, because he's always going to have our, if you're ever go to Cozumel, go through him, because he's always going to have our best interest at heart, for sure. As it turned out, all of our excursions were canceled because of high winds. The weather there was just not conducive to being able to go and fish and snorkel, but that just gave us more time to visit as Rotarians. So I met with Alex and Ernesto, who are both past presidents now, and the current president, who is Victor, on Thursday night. And we met at Ernesto's house prior to the Rotary meeting to discuss several different things. The first of which is the potential for a fundraiser. Would be something that we would share. This is a fundraiser that's come up in the past with our club having 3 really big fundraisers that we usually partake in. We really haven't ever kind of jumped on board this particular fundraiser, especially this time of year. We're fundraising selling chili, right? So our hands are already kind of full during this time of year. Well, we met last week and our president-elect led the board meeting last week because Larry being sick. And one of the things that we did vote on as a board is that we are going to cancel the Chili Fest for this year. So there's just not a legitimate way we could make it work and make it be worth what we put into it to receive enough back, because to be honest with you, the majority of our funds that we do make at the Chili Fest are from the silent auction. Well, even if we did a drive-by, drive-through chili, we wouldn't have the ability to do the silent auction part of it, right? So literally the day after discussing the Chili Fest and having to cancel yet another fundraiser for our club, the guys came up and said, one of the things that we do, they do it on a regular basis in other areas, is they do a raffle. This raffle is, so this was really, really kind of cool how it turned out. Ernesto owns a restaurant, and those of us that have been to Cozumel know it's right there on the strip, on the ocean. You're sitting in his bar restaurant, and you see the ocean, right? And it's called Rock and Java. So he said, well, just meet me at Rock and Java on Thursday night, and then I could follow him to his house because they're all one-way streets going the wrong way. I don't know. So I walked into Rock and Java on Thursday night, and there's Ernesto and Alex and Victor sitting at a table with this other couple. And that, they said, come over. And they introduced me to this couple. And I was like, oh, nice to meet you. And they said, guess what? They're from Greenville. And I said, are you kidding me? And they said, well, actually, just in between Greenville and Caddo Mills. And I said, that is the coolest thing. And they said, we own a condo down here. We're coming down here all the time. And I said, well, let me give you my name and number. You can text me or whatever later. And I would love it if you would. Sheila, your earring is on the floor. Oh. Okay. I said, I would love it if, one day if you're coming down here and you guys have a little extra room in your bags or something, if y'all would help us get supplies down here. And they said, absolutely, whatever, you need. And so I thought, man, that is just the coolest thing. Well, when we got to Ernesto's house, he said, that couple we were sitting with? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, they're frequent customers of mine. They're in here all the time. And so we actually scheduled to meet with them and ask them about helping us with the raffle. It wasn't until that meeting that night that I walked in that they found out they're actually from Greenville. So it was really kind of cool. So that couple is actually going to donate a week at their condo that they own for us to be able to say, and they are willing to come to a meeting and talk about the resort that they have the condo in, talk about the safety and how safe it is and all of that. And then the Rotarians in Cozumel are going to collect other items like excursions, a breakfast at one restaurant, dinner at another, that kind of thing, that we can put together a package. Nice. And make it a really nice trip. Yes.
Are we eligible to win?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the Humane Society might have the same kind of deal going on right now, and I might have bought 10 tickets to that one. So Ernesto's wife is the one that started the Humane Society, and in Cozumel. So my idea was, I think $100 a ticket may be a little too much here, but I don't think there's any reason we couldn't do $50 a ticket. If 20 Rotarians just sell 10 tickets each, then I think we will be,
And you think 100's too much for a trip?
I just don't, it may not be, and this is why this is open for discussion. This is not something that I'm just presenting this.
That wouldn't cover airfare, that just
No, so here's what the Cozumel Club would be putting together, the package itself. So they would be asking for the donations. And we split the proceeds 50-50. The Greenville Club is responsible for airfare. For two. This is for two. This is not a family. This is a couple or sisters or, something like that. So we would be responsible for paying for the airfare out of our half of the proceeds. But one of the things that really made me think, okay, I can understand why in the past we haven't done it, because we are really busy selling tickets for everything that we're already doing. And, always we're constantly ramping up to our next fundraiser. But considering that, Larry's year, only 3 months of my year got robbed for me. His entire year has been robbed from him, right? And one of the things that we talked about last week in our meeting was that we have 3 kids that have worked the haunted house every single year, every single night it's open. And for years, we've been saying these kids deserve the scholarship, and now here it comes, they're graduating seniors, and we don't have fundraisers to provide those scholarships. So my thought was, if we could just get enough to at least offer these kids that have worked so hard for us for all of these years these scholarships, man, that would be, that would just make my heart so full. And anything else on top of it that we could get, obviously bonus, right? So I think, and when I asked Ernesto, I said, I want you to tell me what is the amount that if we made this amount for you, you would say this was a successful fundraiser. And he said $2,000 to $3,000, and I said, no, at least 5. At very least 5. I think, and again, for a $10,000, for $10,000, that's 20 Rotarians selling 10 tickets apiece. There's no reason we can't pull that off. Okay, no reason at all we can't pull that off.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And like the hospital foundation, when they do theirs, it's normally, these nice earrings or something like that. Their tickets are $50 a piece, aren't they?
I think so. Well, I know CAC, I think theirs was $50 a piece. There may have been a little bit higher, but again, I go back to, CAC, that's kids. Who, everybody's going to donate to kids.
We can do it.
I think we can do it. I really do. I really, really honestly do. And this would give Larry something on the positive side for his presidency, that we were able to think outside of the box and have this fundraiser. I know that there were some other ideas for fundraisers coming up in the next few months. This would be something that we would fundraise, potentially, sell the tickets through, I think it was like April or May. And they're gonna before we actually get the tickets, because it'll be printed on the tickets the week, it'll be pigeonholed into 1 week, as this is the week that you get. So it'll actually be on the tickets. We're not going to be selling tickets going, we'll let you know if you win, but it'll be sometime in September or October. Their thought for that was, hopefully by then maybe more and more people will be vaccinated. We'll have a little bit more safety. The only other thing that I heard on the news this morning that we might have to pay for is a COVID test, because I heard this morning that international travel is going to require COVID test 3 days prior to re-entering the U.S. So whatever. But anyway, that is the first thing that I wanted to talk about, is this potential fundraiser, and let everybody know, if you could, if in your work life, daily life, whatever, you see Rotarians are not sitting here, when you come in contact with another Rotarian who's not here, please make sure and relay that information. We'll also send out emails as soon as we get kind of an outline of what we're going to talk about. But I think it's really important. I think even if you're not here physically right now because of COVID, you could still sell tickets. They're selling tickets through a PayPal account. So they're selling them all over the world right now for the Humane Society. They're selling them literally all over the world for a trip to Cozumel and through a PayPal account. There's no reason we can't do that, and you don't have to leave your house to do that,
So
right?
is this accommodations for 2 people?
Correct. Yeah. So I talked to Kim and she said we need to count on about $1,000 for flights. So, yes, sir.
Located the condo on the island.
That was one of the things they're gonna send to me, but I believe it's right there somewhere next to the main strip.
On the strand,
Mhm.
there somewhere, well, what I'm thinking about is transportation as well. A rental vehicle or something like that, so.
Yeah, and they may be getting that for them as part of the island donation.
I think that question needs to be asked.
Okay.
If it's right on the strip, you can walk everywhere.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
it's
walk.
right there by
Depending on who wins.
Like the Java place, I mean,
Yeah.
you can walk downtown.
Yeah, you can.
That's true, John, but, you know, the Aztec ruins and, you know, the south side and the east side of the island, you know, places like that, you need a vehicle to go
Mhm.
there. So,
Well, and there's,
You can rent one of their taxi people to do that. You pay somebody something for all day and they'll take you anywhere you want. Sit there and wait for you, so.
sure.
I don't think that'd be a drawback on the whole thing.
no, but I just rented the vehicle and it wasn't that bad. And I rented my vehicle apparently to sit in the parking lot. Whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's one side of what we talked about. The other side is, let's face it, we're normally, outside of COVID, a really large club and we're really good at fundraising, right? That's kind of what we do. But there is a separate component to our international side. And that's, you know, that service thing. So one of the things that I asked is, what could we do as a club? Is there something that we could go down there in the next few months and actually get our hands dirty? The school that we normally, both schools that we normally support, both CAM and Chi Ed, are closed right now. They're not in session. They're not likely to go back until the fall at the earliest. And so there's not a lot that we could physically do at CAM or Chi Ed with the children, okay? Or for the kids. So I asked, could we think outside of the box and maybe come up with some ideas of things that Cozumel as an island, how many here have been to Cozumel? Okay, so a good majority. If you've been there or if you've not been there, let me explain to you that when you're on the main strip, it looks just like the US. You get a couple of blocks off the main strip and it's not. It's very evident that this is a third world country and they don't have access to some of the things that we do for their infrastructure. So when they have hurricanes that beat the crap out of the island, it's a lot harder to get things replanted or cleaned up, and there's just not that capability. So this last hurricane that came through, there were a lot of trees that were uprooted. So they're working on a project right now to plant trees, to go back and try to plant trees. That helps with a lot of different areas, in addition to just the fact that trees have clean air and stuff. The water table is really high in Cozumel, so that helps. So that was one of the potential ideas that we talked about, is going down and helping to plant trees. The other one, and I think one that's definitely going to be something that they really, really want us to help with, and I think it would be easy for us to go down and have a moment in time, a couple of days to do this. They had been working, actually Kim, I believe, Kim Quimby, our Rotarian, was one of the ones that started this. I don't know how many years ago, y'all tell me the ones that were there, but the raised garden beds, about how many years ago was that? 7 or 8 years ago? Okay. It was pre-CAM and Chi Ed, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So it was maybe even like 8 or 9 years ago. Kim went down there to help. Kim, for those of you that don't know, she's a master gardener. So she knows how to plant, knows how to sustain, explain sustainability to them. So she went down and helped them build planters, to start raising their own produce. Well, that has really taken off, and especially I'm telling you right now with COVID, it proved to them beyond a shadow of a doubt why that having their own vegetation and the ability to cultivate the vegetation themselves is so important, because they are relying on the ferries from the mainland for all of their food. And when that slowed and sometimes stopped, that was a big deal. They already are having a huge surge in diabetes cases. 2/3 of the individuals in Cozumel have diabetes, and over half of those don't even know that they have diabetes. And it's because they don't have access to things, you know, the healthier foods. They're drinking Cokes like crazy because they don't have access to great water. And so growing the vegetables and growing, you know, things for themselves where they can come and be self-sustaining is a huge asset. So there's actually a church that Ernesto took me to in Cozumel that has lent the entire back half of the church, this huge area, and they are building these raised garden beds. And then I've got photos and a little video that I took that will, when it's not last second, I'll post those at some point. But they also have these really cool, don't have a clue what they are, but it looks like felt, that is this giant, huge planter made out of this felt, and they put compost down in there. And the plants that are growing in this thing versus the concrete raised beds, they were about 5 times taller, growing faster because of the material and how it's built. So one of the things that I've talked to Kim about is possibly, and I talked to Ernesto, is us buying the material to build more of those planters, because it's just some kind of felt material, and getting those built and going down and helping to actually plant more and more of those so that they can, you know, really start showing their community how the sustainability of growing your own vegetables is going to benefit them. So I think that's a really good option. The other thing that they need is they need people to go and help clean up Cam and Kai at school, just without the kids being there, but just because of the hurricanes coming through, storm damage, everything. They also need help. I actually volunteered Troy, if he watches this recording, or any other people that are really good wordsmiths that are great with putting thoughts together. They need help with taking some of the things that they're doing, projects that they're doing, and being able to put it into English in a way that makes enough sense to send it out to the other Rotary clubs that we're sister clubs with Cozumel, but a lot of Rotary clubs, especially in the Dallas area and other states, help support Cozumel. And so they want to be able to disseminate this information, and they speak wonderfully in English, but writing is a little bit different, and it can be a little bit, you know, not as legible. So they need help with that as well. So my thought was, and I talked to Kim about this, is if we can find a time that we can actually go down there, is to have several different factions that go out, and you pick and choose kind of the gardening, going to the school, helping the Rotarians with verbiage and stuff like that. So, all right, any questions about that? Because we do definitely need some kind of service this year, don't we?
Yeah.
And I mean, I will tell you that I felt 100% safe the whole time I was in Cozumel. I don't care if it was the resort, if it was going to restaurant. I went to Rock and Java. They are very, very adamant about taking your temperature everywhere you go. They have hand sanitizer, even making you sanitize your shoes in case you're carrying something in.
Are they getting any tourist ships in?
No ships at all.
Cruises at all?
No cruises at all. None.
How are they making?
They're not. Which is why I took my nephew. I made my nephew go down to, there's a market right across from Rock and Java, which normally, I don't know, for those of you that have been there, you know, it's about 2 or 3 strips, and it's, I don't know what you would say, at least 50.
Is there a super Walmart?
Yeah, it's, well, not that market, not Mega Market. I'm talking about the little booths right across,
Okay.
where it's a little market, where people can come and sell the things that they make.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, or they purchased or whatever, but they can sell them to the tourists. And I'd say each row is probably at least 30 yards. And there's at least 2 or 3 rows of little cubicles for each market, individual to sell their wares. And when we went last year, I mean, my husband and I spent hours walking in and out of each of those little shops. There were 3 shops open. That was it. And the first one that I went into, we bought something there. The second one that I went into, the lady that was working it, she said, after I made my purchases there, she said, let me introduce you to my friend over here. And so they're trying to help each other out. And I said, of course I'm gonna go over there and buy something. And my nephew said, couldn't you, she was trying to get me to buy Cuban cigars. They were not Cuban. And she came down from $40 to $20, on all this. And I was like, no, I don't need any cigars. And my nephew said, this was after we'd already made our purchases. And he said, I didn't realize that she would come down like that. Why didn't you do that on the first purchase that you made? And I said, because the purchase I made was $27. $27 to me is nothing. $27 to her could be a week worth of food or more. So we went and spread our money out as much as we could. Sadly, my nephew decided he wanted to go to Hooters to spread his money out. But, no.
he don't pack a cigar too, you told me.
Yeah. Whatever. He said the football game's on there. Okay, whatever.
And they have good wings.
Yeah, and they have good wings. Yeah, anyway. So, are there any questions, concerns, queries
What's the
about?
timing on this raffle that you mentioned?
We would begin selling probably in the next couple of months. It would end or probably around May, maybe June, and then.
So we got a few weeks to more talk about it, maybe a board meeting or something.
The board will definitely discuss it.
Yeah, this is definitely not something, my unilateral decision was to propose it, not to vote on it or anything. This is something that we have the ability to discuss and talk about to see if we want to do. I think, again, for the sake of having something rather than nothing this year, and at least getting maybe enough to support some of these kids that have supported us for so stinking long. I mean, it's gonna make me cry, because when I think of Sistiness and how much, she's done for this club, and I really wanna make sure we do stuff for her.
So when, are you gonna plan the trip that we go do the stuff?
That would be, depending now, especially on our ability to actually travel, that would probably be like March or April timeframe. So that's, Kim is the one, this is a multi-step process. We have to have enough people that could do it. And by the way, one other thing too, obviously we just talked about the fact that there are no cruises. This would have to be airfare. And airfare is more expensive, you have to know that. That this is not, it's not millions of dollars, and airfare is a lot cheaper right now, but it would be a flight and staying there on the island, which is
twice the price of the cruise.
it's roughly twice the price. So I think I spent like, what is it, about $1,000, $1,100?
The last time I went was around 1,100, when Troy and I went down together, but the deal is, and the whole deal of that is, and that's where I come from, is I go down there and have the opportunity to spend 3-4 days
Serving.
with the kids.
Yeah, and just doing some kind of service.
Not that I have any problem visiting and playing and having fun on the ship, don't get me wrong, but, going down and working with those guys is what's
Well,
all about.
and the last little thing I'll say, because I know Debbie's trying to tell me, get the heck off the stage. I'm sorry, I missed the microphone. I couldn't help it. The last thing that I will say is Ernesto did ask me as we were driving back, Cause this was, when we were going to do this, it was the last day I was about to go and get on the plane, and we were driving back up to Rock and Java, and he said, well, how long each day do you want to work? 2 hours? And I said, no, not 2 hours. And I was like, no, that's not enough. And he said, well, you don't want to do 8 hours, do you? I said, well, let's not get crazy, okay? But, you know, there's no reason we can't work for 4 or 5 hours each day and then still have time to go, and Bob will be working 6, he says. Then still have time to go and have a meal together. Amazing meal. These folks do not spare anything to show us the gratitude and be there for us, and for all of us to have the opportunity to be together with them and get to know the Rotarians there. You cannot have a better opportunity than that. So
How many days are you planning on going?
probably just 3.
3?
Thank you, Katie. I think between her and Kim, they could probably talk days and days and days. And I've been to Cozumel a couple of times, and it is a very, it's a heartwarming experience. So anyway, if there's nothing else to discuss except for my board members, please come forward. We need to have a quick board meeting, please.
Also, make sure to say that we've got Cotton Patch meeting
Oh
right
yeah,
after the
and
board.
Katie has, we're starting Cotton Patch meeting today. And then, let's see, something else was next. Oh, please, we don't have crews, so everybody just help do your part.